get right to our top story. Look at the map. There are now 84 cases of measles reported in 14 states since the start of 2015.
Startling, and that includes a frightening new case overnight here in New York, one that may have exposed hundreds of thousands of commuters.
Meanwhile, doctors in Arizona are scrambling to monitor 200 potentially infected people just in time for the Super Bowl, which will, of course, be played near Phoenix. ABC's Neil Karlinski is on the story from the site of the big game in Glendale. Neil, good morning to you.
Dan, good morning. Hard to imagine a worse place for a potential measles outbreak. Officials here at the Super Bowl are on guard this morning, determined to keep the fans safe and the measles out. Overnight, New York officials confirming a Bard College student who was tested positive for measles was contagious on Sunday when he boarded an Amtrak train to Albany from New York City's Penn Station, possibly exposing hundreds of thousands of travelers in North America's busiest transportation center.
My main concern with my daughter is that, we take her to a McDonald's and she comes back with the measles.
In Arizona, officials are monitoring 200 patients of a pediatric clinic for possible exposure. An infected woman visited the office outside of Phoenix just days before an estimated million visitors from around the country flooded the city for Sunday's Super Bowl. An infected person can spread the disease for days before its first visible symptoms appear. The virus lives on surfaces and in the air for up to 2 hours, meaning even after a sick person left the room, anyone without immunity could still be infected, leading some doctors to blame this outbreak on so-called anti-vaxxers, parents who refuse to have their kids vaccinated, fearing unproven side effects.
We should be fully informed with what exactly is in each and every injection that goes into our child's body.
In the epicenter of this outbreak, one California healthcare company robocalling those parents with an urgent reminder.
Measles is a highly contagious infection that can have serious complications.
As schools warn their children to stay home, some pediatricians refusing to allow the families in their offices at all.
They're not welcome unless they decide to immunize. Those patients have a right to their opinion, but they just don't have a right to possibly infect my other patients who are vulnerable in my office.
It only takes a cough or a sneeze. Even a touch from an infected person can linger for hours. They'll definitely be packing their hand wipes and Purell here at the Super Bowl. Paula?
Just so contagious. Neil Karlinski from the Super Bowl this morning. And we do want to bring in ABC's Dr. Richard Besser. Good morning to you, Rich. And first of all, can you remind us just how contagious measles is and what it means for this latest incident on the Amtrak train?
Yeah, this is one of the most contagious viruses that we know of. If you haven't been vaccinated, if you haven't had the disease and you're exposed, there's a 90% chance you're going to get this. And a train car is a place where you have to be very concerned because people are in there. It's a confined space. What the health department is saying is if you were on that train and you were not vaccinated, if you get a fever, you need to check in with your doctor because you may have measles.
You've been saying over and over this flu season that the flu vaccine hasn't been very effective. Not the case for the measles vaccination. I mean,
the good news is this is one of the best vaccines we have. It reduces your chances of getting measles if you're exposed from 90% all the way down to 1%. Incredible. I mean, that's really incredible. It's a very effective vaccine.
I know my 1-year-old is due for his MMR, that MMR, measles, mumps, rubella. It's not just a one-time vaccination either.
It's not. It's not. For kids, it's 2 doses. For adults, it's 1 dose. If you've had measles, you don't have to worry about it. But we vaccinate not just to protect ourselves, but to protect babies like yours who are too young to be vaccinated or people with immune problems who are at risk of getting it because they can't develop that immunity.
So many on edge at the Super Bowl. They're warning anyone with symptoms to stay away from the stadium, and communities really on high alert, doing everything they can to be vigilant as well right now.
Yeah, when you see crowds of people coming together, that's the setting where you have to be careful because not everyone's going to be protected. So you want to make sure that no one goes to that setting who potentially could have measles. They're having people stay home who have the possibility that they're developing measles. That's all smart things to do.
Again, that vaccination, 99% effective, correct?
It's terrific. It's terrific.
It really is terrific.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.